Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Moving right along here, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Head back out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharief Ishaq, WDSU up in Charlotte, making some time for us from, I believe, the airport. Sharief, how was your stay in Charlotte?
Kind of a complicated one. I mean,
Okay.
yesterday we're, not even a half a mile from the stadium. It took 2 hours and 5 minutes to get to the parking spot.
Okay.
I get stuck in the elevator today in the hotel for 20 minutes as I was leaving. And then, in the TSA line for like 45 minutes. I didn't want you to call me while the phone was rolling through the TSA machine. So here we are.
Could get you arrested. You can stay a little longer. You got issues with the cell phone. What'd you do in the elevator for 20 minutes? Just sit there and look at your phone? Did you get reception?
Yeah, I got reception. I was just looking on Twitter. I called the front desk. I'm like, hey, I'm stuck in your elevator. Can you get someone to get me out, please? I got to go to the airport.
The Saints won, so that's good.
Yeah, I think I took all the negatives and the Saints had the positives. But, it was a good game for the defense. Look, I'm looking at it's essentially the same thing that happened last week that happened this week. The offense was just hideous, gross, nasty in the first half. And in the second half, they made the big plays. The defense was good for 4 quarters. And pretty much the same thing we saw against the Tennessee Titans.
So what's the bigger story? That the offense is gross most of the time or that the defense is awesome?
Well, you would hope that the offense would be a little bit better than that. I mean, we knew the defense was going to be pretty good. I think the bigger story is just the offense. The defense isn't going to be able to continue to carry the entire team this way for the entire season. So Derek Carr has to get it together. This one was on Derek Carr, and he took the accountability. That's one of the good things with him. Able to do that whenever he has a bad game. Timing, just missing on throws, underthrowing, overthrowing, Olave or Michael Thomas. It just wasn't that pretty in the first half for Derek Carr. He's just, I don't know, the connection isn't there. And I understand they didn't really play much together in the preseason, and that's kind of the way it looks like. And it's just been 2 games in. He was better last week, obviously, than he was this week, but just missing on quite a few throws in the first half. Second half, got a little bit better, man. The big plays with Olave and Shaheed, and that set up a couple touchdowns. But, I think they have to find a way where it's a little bit more fluid and there's more rhythm to the offense throughout the entire game, not just in the second half.
There are so many teams in the NFL that are struggling offensively through 2 weeks, and I wonder if coaches won't rethink how much their starters play in the preseason. I realize the risk-reward stinks because somebody can get hurt, and that's the last thing that you want, but it's not attractive football through 2 weeks. Do you think that some of the starters should play a little bit more in preseason games?
Yeah, I think you're going to see that down the line. It may not be that final game, but I think you might see them get 2 more series, another series in the first or second game, just to make sure that you got the chemistry and the team is gelling offensively. And I understand some of the, teams on the other side maybe not going as hard as possible because, like you said, risk reward, you don't want to get hurt. But I still think that you got to give them more time on the field in live action. I mean, the joint practices are good; they're beneficial, but it's not live action in a stadium, lights where they're going 100 miles an hour. At least you think they are. So I think they rethink that moving forward.
Where's your concern with this Saints offensive line?
It's just like it's the first half, second half. They blocked well in the run game. I told you one of the keys to winning would be in the run game, and Taysom Hill, I think by far was the player of the game offensively. Without Taysom Hill, they don't win that game. And they finally went Taysom time, and they found a way to use him. But they were running between the tackles really well. I just didn't like the runs outside. When they try to run to the edge in the NFL, it's really hard to do that. With Jamal Williams, who has a hamstring injury. We'll see how long he's out. And Tony Jones, who first 2 touchdowns of his career. Thanks, Sean Payton, for letting him off your practice squad. But, I thought they blocked well in the run game. Pass game, and they were just up and down again. It was up and down. I thought Penning played a little bit better than he did last week, but the rest of the offensive line and pass protection was, it was suspect at times. And I think some of it was on Carr and some of it was on the offensive line. That's just, once again, more time on task, playing more, and maybe they'll get, adjusted by game 3 or 4.
How much does Kamara help this offense when he comes back?
Oh my God. Me and Lance were talking about that in the press box. Wait till Kamara comes back next week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or should I say week 4 against the Buccaneers. he's going to open it up a lot more for the tight ends. He's going to open it up for the running backs, the receivers. He's just going to, the offensive line maybe doesn't have to hold as long just because of what he's able to do in space. So, the offense is going to be even more dynamic whenever you have 41 in there. Plus, they need another running back at this point. They need to have their number one back in their backfield again.
I like the pass rush last night. How'd you think the Saints played up front defensively?
Look, when Cam was coming to the tunnel, we were waiting to go on the field. He stopped by to tell Lance and I, he's like, "Look, we miss a lot of sacks. They had 4 sacks and they had 7 hits on Bryce Young. He felt like they missed at least another 3 sacks on him. And he's right. He's a little elusive, so you give him credit for getting out of it and get out of the way of Granderson and Cam and some of the other defensive linemen, Saunders and Shepard. He did a good job of avoiding it, but they made life miserable for Bryce Young last night. He could not get comfortable. He could not make his throws, could not plant his feet. They did exactly what everyone thought they were going to do to Bryce Young. They were going to make him uncomfortable for the entire game. And look, man, that defensive line is scary. The entire defense, Hunt, is scary. That's 10 straight games of allowing 20 or fewer points, which is a franchise record. Hey, look, through the first 2 weeks, 1 touchdown. That's the best in franchise history through 2 weeks. The 92 Dome Patrol team was the other one who did it. And they gave up 2 in the first 2 weeks. So look, this defense is on its continues ascending. So it's a good thing. No,
there's no doubt about it. And the 1 touchdown they've given up's been in garbage time where they were in prevent. So it's pretty impressive. I think they found a really good recipe, in my opinion, in the secondary with those 3 guys. Who's made the biggest jump there? Is it Lattimore staying healthy and returning to his form, or is it Adebo or Alontae Taylor?
Look, let's just scratch Marshawn Lattimore out. Lattimore being healthy is top 3, maybe top 2 in the entire NFL. He's allowed 3 catches in 2 games. Yeah. Now, I get it. It's Tannehill and Young, but they're not even really throwing his way. So we know how good he is. I think Alontae Taylor is making the bigger strides. Adebo is still having some issues. He's a little handsy. I know the one on the fumble that the Saints should have had a second turnover. They called an illegal contact while Bryce Young was in the pocket. It's a suspect call, but he was handsy. The other one, if he had his head turned on the pass interference, maybe they don't call it if the ball was 3 yards over his head, out of bounds. But those guys have made strides. Now, if you can clean it up a little bit, man, that secondary becomes even more potent, and no one is going to dare throw that ball in the secondary. Tyrann Mathieu hasn't really done much because no one's throwing it his way either. That's another thing. You haven't heard Tyrann Mathieu's names because he's doing his job really well. So, yeah, that secondary is doing a little bit more than I thought they'd be doing. But it's just 2 games in, and I'm just excited to see what they do as they move to the rest of the season because they have that young talent there.
How do they fix the red zone on offense?
Yeah, that's a great question. They got to the 4-yard line and couldn't get anything into the end zone. The first drive, they got inside the 10-yard line, I believe, and couldn't get anything in. I think it's just, Derek Carr getting a little more comfortable. Play calling has to be a little bit better. I really think they should have, instead of running Taysom when they got to the 4-yard line on first and goal from the 4, they should have just run in between the tackles. Don't stop trying to be too cute with it. It was working up the middle. Everything was working up the middle. In terms of throwing, man, where's the picket fence with Michael Thomas? The little screen, with the one that they ran all the time with Drew Brees. So down the line, they throw in the ball. You get some nice blocking. He pushes his way forward. He gets in for a touchdown. Didn't see any of that type of stuff. So I just think, you have Jimmy Graham, use him. He had, like I told you, you can't teach size. Put him outside and let him go one-on-one with the corner. Just throw it up. They didn't do anything that was creative to me. I just think that it was sloppy. It was sloppy and bad, and just the timing wasn't there with Carr and any of the passes he was making to his receivers.
You headed to Green Bay?
No Green Bay trip this year. So next time we'll be with him is when Kamara returns for the Buccaneers game on October 1st. But should be another good one, man. Like they get another team having their home debut. Packers play back-to-back road games. All depends if Aaron Jones plays for them. With Jordan Love, yeah, he's 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, almost 400 yards, but completion percentage is 56%. Not that great. So that Saints defense is going to have a chance to eat once again.
Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.